So you're probably familiar with the 5 love languages and what type of love you like to receive. But if you're looking for love, then knowing which of the 3 dating personalities you are is going to change your love life. Hey, if you're new here, I'm Mike, and today is my birthday. I was born on Valentine's Day, which is probably why I rarely celebrate my birthday, but I thought it'd be fun to try a new video topic on this channel. Everything here is from Logan Ury, a Harvard-trained behavioral scientist and author of How to Not Die Alone. I've been fortunate enough to find my permanent Valentine, and we went through this book together, and we were shocked at just how the science can really help explain the way we behave in relationships. So the 3 types are the maximizer, the romanticizer, and the hesitator. So the maximizer is trying to maximize on all the pros and cons of their partner. They want to be 100% certain before making a decision, because why settle if there's potentially someone better out there? The romanticizer is out here looking for a soulmate. They're looking for the one. It's all about the spark and living happily ever after, and love is supposed to be effortless, and it'll happen if it's meant to be. And the hesitator doesn't date much. They don't want to put themselves out there until they feel established. I'll be ready to date when I lose some weight, or I figure out my career, or what I want to do in life. So the thought is that we all fit into one of these categories, and we probably have some traits from all 3. And these 3 personalities arose from all the changes that we've seen in society and in dating. Hundreds of years ago, people would spend their entire lifetime in the same little village. Your options for who to marry were limited, and marriage was more for practical reasons, like uniting the families or building alliances, like in Game of Thrones. Marriage was done for the greater good. But today, there's more emphasis on the individual. We're free to make our own choices, and divorce is common. And you throw in all these things like the internet and romantic Disney movies and dating apps and social media with Instagram filters, and you get this very different dating environment that even our parents don't fully understand. And it's okay. We're all still trying to figure this out. So the next time your mom gives you crap about your love life, just show her this video. So all 3 of these dating personalities summarize the negative tendencies that people show in the new world of dating. It can help explain why you haven't found a partner yet, or if you're already in a relationship, then why it's so difficult all the time. And we'll realize that all these problems come down to behavioral psychology. We've been brainwashed by society and media to think a certain way. So just know that it's not your fault, and by using the principles in this video, we can build relationships more intentionally. All these personalities at a fundamental level have unrealistic expectations. Maximizer has unrealistic expectations of their partner. The romanticizer has unrealistic expectations of what makes a good relationship. And the hesitator has unrealistic expectations of themselves. After hearing about each one in detail, it was pretty easy for me to identify which one I was. And if you're kind of unsure, you can ask your best friends or your siblings and they'll definitely know. First, let's talk about the maximizer, the type of person who's trying to maximize their options and find the best possible partner. I fall into this category. It's scary like how accurate I fit this description. And when I realized this, it just all clicked. Like all the problems and negativity I was having about love and dating made sense. As a maximizer, I spend a lot of time researching things. I like to look at all the options before deciding. Like when I first started this YouTube channel, I spent days researching like which camera should I buy, which lens should I buy, and I wanted to be 100% sure before making a purchase. That's some like crazy perfectionist type of thinking. But the worst part was that even after I found and bought the supposed best camera, and everyone I knew kept reassuring me that I definitely got the best camera, I couldn't help but just wonder, is it possible that there might be an even better camera out there? So why am I like this? Why must I scroll through the entire Netflix catalog before finally making a decision on what show to watch? From a psychological standpoint, I'm afraid of making the wrong decision, because making the wrong decision means I failed. At the very core, it's a fear of failure. I think that growing up in an Asian household where you gotta keep up with your perfect cousin and get perfect grades to become a doctor made me really afraid of failing. And for me, it wasn't about making the right decision, it was more about not failing and making the wrong decision. But here's the thing. In The Paradox of Choice by Barry Schwartz, makes the argument that if we have more choices and more options, it makes us less happy. That's the paradox. Having too many choices leads to comparison. And when we compare too much, it leads you to feeling disappointed or having regrets or buyer's remorse. You feel like you failed to pick the best one. So this maximizer mindset definitely translates into my love life as well. I liked the dating apps because you could get to know a lot of different people, but I feel like it brought out this side of me where I was treating dates like a checklist, like she needs to be Asian or have nice teeth or be funny. But as a maximizer, I was taking these checklists to the extreme. Like she also had to be a doctor, or she also had to be athletic, or also had to hold engaging and intellectual conversations with me. This was very unhealthy because my checklist was so unrealistic. Nobody's perfect, and there's no perfect choice. So how do we overcome this maximizer tendency? The first thing we gotta do is figure out when enough is enough. We go on so many dates because we want to check out all our options. You've dated everyone in the city and you expand your Hinge or your Tinder radius, and the next thing you know, you're flying to another state to go on dates. Like, when does it stop? Well, since maximizers are always trying to think analytically, let's present a somewhat logical solution. This might be a little over the top, but it really clicked for me, so bear with me. It's the optimal stopping theory. In mathematics, this is how we choose a time to take a particular action in order to maximize rewards and minimize loss. I don't fully understand the equations themselves, but it can be applied to a lot of different scenarios. For example, if you're driving around a parking lot looking for the closest parking spot and you find a good one, what if there's a better one out there? How much longer should you drive around before you settle on a spot? Or in the scenario of selling your house, a lot of potential buyers will offer to pay you this much money for your house, but if you hold out just a little bit longer, what if someone offers a little bit more money? How long should you hold out for? The scenario that's most similar to dating is hiring for a job. If you're trying to hire the best person for the job, how many applications should you go through before hiring the best person? Well, apparently the number is 37%. If you have 100 job applications, you only need to go through 37 of them before you can confidently choose a good enough candidate, so to speak. You don't need to do any more research because you have enough data. So the way Logan Ury applies this to dating is this. Let's say you're open to dating between the ages of 18 and 40. That's a 22-year dating window, but you don't need to date for the entire 22 years. You only need 37% of that, which comes out to be 8 years. So starting age of 18 plus 8 more years is 26. So around the age of 26, it's time to stop dating and start committing. Think back to all the people you've dated leading up to that point. Which was the best? That's your benchmark. And the next person you meet who's as good as or better than that benchmark, you should commit. This is a huge oversimplification, and life is not that easy, right? But no one's perfect either. Kayla's athletic, but she's not funny enough. Or Nicole's a 10, but she doesn't get along with her family. Everyone has their strengths and weaknesses, and you'll never find a perfect checklist. Eventually, you just gotta commit and start building your life together. Which takes us to the second tip for maximizers. And this one isn't as analytical, sorry about that. But as a maximizer, I had to realize that love is not found, it is built. You don't just go out there and find the most perfect person. Instead, you find someone who has the potential to build the best relationship and to grow old with. It's not that you're settling, that's totally not it. You can have high standards, but once you find someone who meets those standards, it's time to delete the dating apps, stop worrying if there's someone better out there, and start focusing on building a wonderful life with what you have in front of you. It's not about the quality of your decision, it's about how you feel about the decision you made. I had to really reflect on what my goal was with dating. Is it to have the world's best wife? Or is it to be happy? Next, let's talk about the romanticizer, the type of person whose mindset is about finding your soulmate and living happily ever after. So I have this friend from college. Let's just pretend and call her Misty. Misty fits the description of a romanticizer. She had this whole idea of what her soulmate was going to be like. 6 feet tall, muscular, tattoos, but only on the arms, has a dog. Like, it wasn't so much a checklist, but more like a whole fantasy. Like, she already envisioned what the wedding looked like and how many kids they'd have. So our friend group introduced her to this guy named Kuma. Not his real name, by the way, but we thought he'd be a great match. And she wouldn't even give him a chance because he didn't look like her dream guy. She was kind of just going through life waiting for the moment when her soulmate would bump into her on the street and sweep her off her feet. The problem with this mindset is that you're waiting for love to happen to you, when in reality, love is something you gotta put effort into creating. Love isn't going to be effortless. When things get difficult, romanticizers will quit because they feel like love isn't supposed to be this hard, right? It's not meant to be. Society and social media has painted this unrealistic picture of love. We grow up watching Disney movies where the prince always marries the princess, even when they don't even know each other. So from a young age, we have this seed planted in our head. The other thing is social media, where all the couples just look perfect and they're having the perfect dates and the perfect photos on the beach at sunset, and we compare. Like, why can't I have that? Compare leads to despair. The truth is, everyone curates the best moments of their life, and that's all you see on social media. I'm not out here posting about us fighting and yelling and breaking down in tears, right? Nobody does that. But those are the defining moments in building a relationship. Love is not easy 100% of the time. You gotta show up, especially during the hard times. You find a way to still care about each other even after the honeymoon phase. To me, it's very similar to following your passion. Like, I love writing and making videos. It's fun. I enjoy it. But just because you're passionate about something doesn't mean it's going to be fun 100% of the time. But you love it enough to still show up when things get tough. And you continue putting in effort. That's what a lot of people underestimate about building a relationship that lasts. No relationship is perfect. We gotta get over these fairy tales and stop waiting for love to just happen to us and start creating it for ourselves. So back to the story of Misty. She actually ended up with this guy who doesn't look anything like she envisioned. But the funny part is that his personality is basically the same as Kuma. So she finally let go of her fairy tale and started giving people a chance. And even though they didn't look like what she envisioned, they made her feel good about herself and comfortable being herself. And that's how she was able to start building something meaningful. Next, let's talk about the hesitator. This is the type of person who never feels ready to date, even when they are ready. So I knew this guy in med school who wanted to get married and wanted to have a family, but he's always currently working on himself, right? Like for the last 10 years. At first he was like, nah, I have no time for dating. I gotta study, right? I gotta get into med school, which is great. But then he gets into medical school and then it becomes, no, I don't have time to date because I gotta train at the triathlon. And then I gotta study for the boards. And then I need to invest in real estate. There's always going to be the next thing that comes along. But the longer you put off dating, the more opportunity costs you lose. My guy is a successful, wealthy, good-looking doctor, but with barely any dating experience. Another person I knew in med school hesitated in a different way. She couldn't let go of her ex. They'd break up, then get back together, then break up again. I'm sure most of us know of at least one couple like this. Maybe you are that couple. And I'm not gonna lie, I've definitely been guilty of this myself. We feel afraid that if we go out into the world, we don't find someone as good as this person, or that we're not as young or as attractive as we used to be. So we hesitate and we don't start the next chapter of our lives. You don't need to be great to start, but you need to start to be great. All those years of dating, you don't just miss out on getting to know people. You miss out on opportunities to learn how to hold a fun conversation, how to flirt, how to argue or fight constructively, how to navigate meeting their parents for the first time. I love the example that Mr. Beast uses for how to grow a YouTube channel. It sounds random right here, but bear with me. He says that your first 100 videos are going to be garbage. They're gonna be so bad that no one's gonna watch them. So you might as well get them out of the way. But with each new video, you want to improve. Pick something to work on. Maybe the next video you try talking more clearly. The next video you use a different color grading. Pick something to improve and get 1% better every time. And by your 100th video, you'll look back and realize that you've grown so much. I think the same goes for dating. Maybe you don't need 100 dates, but your first few are going to be horrible. So get it over with, get your reps in, and get to the good part. At the core, hesitators also fear failure. It's the fear of not being good enough, so they procrastinate. They put off even trying. We view dating through the lens that society has created for us. You look at shows like The Bachelor, The Bachelorette, and hundreds of other reality dating shows, and it's just over the top. It's like a game with winners and losers, and the losers are just publicly humiliated. On top of that, society has given us so many distractions to derail us. Lots of cheap dopamine to sidetrack us from what we really value. But the way to overcome these fears is to look it straight in the eye and realize that it's just all smoke and mirrors. If you're a hesitator, the same psychology and strategies that help us overcome procrastination can help you overcome hesitation. First is to turn intention into action. You've been intending to date, but you never do. Turn it into action. Make a deadline. Schedule it into your calendar. This weekend, I will download a dating app and create my profile. Second is to start small. Commit to just one date per month. Take some time, reflect, do it again. And third is to tell your family and friends. When you do this, you hold yourself accountable. Plus, when people know you're looking, they can introduce you to more people. So just know that this video isn't about developing relationship skills, like learning how to hold a conversation or how to be a good partner. You still need to work on your skills as part of the game. But these 3 personality types is the starting point, because when you look at the game through a different lens, it changes everything. And you realize that you have more control. Mentality is everything. I really want to make more videos like this, so if you enjoyed this topic, please leave a comment below so that we can see if the interest is there. All right, thanks for watching.